Good morning, happy crafters. Sorry, it was an itch I was scratching. Good morning, happy crafters. So I have a tutorial for you today of, I don't know, maybe I'll make it a series of things you can make with not index cards, I'm sorry, things you can make with playing cards. You get a whole pack of playing cards, and some of them are very Vegas-ish. You can find them at garage sales, fairly inexpensive at the Dollar Tree. And if you're going to alter them, it doesn't matter what they look like. And they're pretty solid. They kind of act like a great, like a great backing, because they're pretty substantial. They're made to take, pardon me, I have stuff in my throat this morning. Allergies in Texas. They're made to take a beating. So anyway, so we're going to talk about things you can make with playing cards. Okay? Fun times. All right. And so I am going to show you just a couple of things. Sorry, I had pulled the wrong one in here. So these are my take on like a little playing card portfolio. And I played around with some images. And I'm going to give you two examples. Now, there are other ways to do this, like the front, but these are the two that I'm going to do, or that I did already, kind of as our prototypes and our examples. And these will probably end up in my store or inside a junk journal I sell or something. So let's take a look. Okay, so we're going to make one that looks like this one today. It's clearly going to be different. I don't usually repeat images of stuff, but it's going to have a circle cutout. So this is the front, okay? And here's the back. And, we are bound with washi tape, right? Washi tape is always a good tool to have in your arsenal. And hold on, I'm going to bring her up. Take your time. These really pretty, like peach pink flower images there, and see, it's 3D-ish. So you just open it up and you can kind of do whatever you want. I always keep in mind whatever I'm putting on this side is going to show through the window. So, line it up so that it looks aesthetically pleasing from the front. So anyway, here we go. Just, easy breezy, lemon squeezy, right? So, I added one of my little stamp number tags there. This is the cutout from right here. Don't waste a thing. Got some fern images in the back and another flower so that when you close it, it looks like that. My mind was bursting with possibilities on this. So that's the first one. Here's another one I did. This is a cactus theme, with same thing, front and back. Here we go. And instead of a circle punch on this one, I made a little X with a craft knife and then tore it out and inked it. So I thought that was a really cool little fun thing. So let's open her up. And this one is, like I said, cactus themes. And I got this cute little label over here. But you can really do whatever you want. And we'll do a different spin on this on our make over here. So let's jump in and get started, right? Okay, let me move those out of the way. All right, so I am pulling over my... This is where I keep my current projects that I'm working on that are small. Clearly, big junk journals don't fit in here because, there's my hands, right? But this is my to-do thing. So I'm going to pull out some stuff here. So I've got my sticker pad. So we start with what you got to start with, right? Two plain tags. Now, my plain tags are distress. So you would, hold on. I'll do it for you with these other two, but then for time's sake, for the video, I needed them to already be dry. Because it can take an hour, the way I do this, for things to dry. Hold on, I'm stuck over here trying to get something out of this thing. Okay. So, start with two playing cards, right? Right? Yep. Now, here's a little hint. If you've never worked with playing cards, maybe I should make this a little farther out. Nope, I just went farther in. There we go. Okay, so you can see all my messy desk, right? I'm never claimed to be a good clean crafter. Sorry, drink. Alrighty, so Here's a hint. Now these, you know, I mean, they're like, you could see how shiny they are. That's because they're coated with some kind of plastic film. So get yourself a piece of sandpaper. This one I use for like projects until it literally won't sand anymore. I mean, and sand off that plastic coating. So this is for 2 reasons. Sorry, I'm going to get a little louder so you can hear me over the sanding. So first of all, number 1, it makes it look more distressed. I don't know if y'all can see that now. See? And secondly, it helps your adhesive. Sorry, y'all, my craft table is wiggling because requires vigorous sanding. It helps the adhesive adhere to the card because this plastic paper is, like I said, it's designed to make cards last for a really long time, you know, like when you're playing with them. And so we got to get rid of that. We don't want it. It's going to last a long time in another life doing crafty, arty things. And let's get rid of that because it's very messy. Okay, hang on to this. I'm going to show you what to do with it later. All right, so here's our playing cards. I'm going to zoom really far in. See, they're all scratched and deliciously ugly. They're perfect. All right, back out. Okay, so I've got a piece of, like a book page, a vintage book page, and I've torn it in half. So we're going to do 1/2 for each. Now, if your words, your orientation do not matter to you, glue it however you like. You know, I mean, if your print were to go way closer to the front, yeah, we can do that. Actually, now that I think about it. Here, well, you know, I don't like to waste stuff. I want to use that paper for something else. So we're going to do that. Okay, because I'm going to show you why your print doesn't have to go all the way to the edge. Okay. But if, you know, you had like little bits, you could also like collage these maybe. All right. So you need to decide what part of your card is going to get covered up, because remember, like here, like in our example, you can see I left the face, I guess, the one that you can see. Okay. Same thing over here. I've left the face to be the part you can see. So you can decide, that's what I'm going to do here, which means I'm putting my glue on the back side, right? And you can buy Mod Podge. I did for many, many years. And then I just started making my own with school glue because I've got, you know, grown kids and we had bottles of glue and it's just glue mixed with water. All right. Okay. So we're going to, you know, do this. Now, it doesn't have to go all the way to the edge. Okay, I mean, it can if you wanted to cover the whole thing, right? But, oh, y'all, hold on. I literally just, hold on. Let me grab 2 more cards. See, this is the great thing about crafting. You can make a mistake. I realized I just painted on the wrong side. I told you one thing and did the opposite. Oh, I swear I have ADD sometimes. Okay, so we're going to go. Let's go back and sand our cards. Same thing. You got to sand both sides, right? Now, I probably could have cleaned those off, you know, but to be honest, I didn't want to take the chance. So I'm just going to resand. And I have an entire bag of playing cards over here because I do a lot of stuff with altered playing cards. I also sell these in my shop, by the way, if you didn't want to do this process right here. Okay, so resanding. We're going to get it right this time. Sorry about the shaky camera. I have a table mount. One day I'll put up what my craft setup looks like. But I have a table mount, like a table that is convertible because we use this room as multi-purpose. So, okay, back to this. Sorry, we're going to do this the correct way. Okay, so this is the side I'm not going to cover up with my paper. So this is the side I'm going to paint this Mod Podge on. Now back to it. I make my own just because I happen to have a lot of bottles of glue. Okay. It doesn't take a lot. You don't have to gloop it on there. But you know, that's what I'm going to do. Okay. Because I'm going to show you why it doesn't matter. Okay. So just like put one down here like that. And then let's find our other one and put it down like this. Whoops. Okay. Now, I usually, if I'm going to make altar playing cards, I will make like a whole stack at once. And I will just move them over to the side, stack them all up, put a book or something really heavy on top of them, and just let them sit for a couple of hours. Man, I don't know if y'all can hear this on the camera, but boy, my birds are really singing. Okay. And I'll go ahead and do the tear right now. So what will happen, and I wish I had some that were dry. I should have thought ahead. So, you know, these are just going to like sit over and dry like this, right? So let's move those over here. All right, so now I'm going to pull out these. Now, you can do whatever you like, whatever suits your boat. So after, you know, they look like this and they're drying, you're going to come back in a couple of hours. Okay, that's why you should make them in batches and then just save them. And you're going to take that's why these edges are here. And that's why I don't go all the way to the edge usually. Like on this one I did, but like most of them, it's not going to be all the way to the edge. But if you wanted to, you can. You're just not going to have it hardly any card showing through. And you're just going to pull it off like this. And everywhere that your Mod Podge is, your adhesive, it's going to adhere. So you'll get this really cool, like feathered edge all the way around. And this is clearly this places, you know, that my Mod Podge really did the job for me. And it gives, and some of the places like up here, you can kind of see stuff poking through, which is why most of the time I don't adhere anything to like the outside edges. Number one, I need a place to, like, I'll try to tear this, but it's probably, yeah, see. Well, I mean, it kind of is. Like, you can kind of see. Well, let's go ahead. See. Oh, yeah, okay. So this clearly dried way better than it usually does. And see, if you pull it off now, that's what you get, right? Okay. All right. Apparently, my glue is really, see, this one's leaving a little bit less behind, but this is what we get. And this is if I did it like right now. If you waited for a couple hours, you'd probably have more adhesion. But there we go. And then you'll take, if you want, I do this. Let me find my, here. I will take, and hold on, let me find scrap paper. All right. I do something like this. Now you can let these sit also if you really want this like darker kind of thing, or you can dot it if you just want some brown, right? But I'm going to let it sit. I'm going to do both of them and then move them over here and just let them sit and do their thing. And same thing, once they're dry, you can weight them down with a book. I wouldn't do it right now or they'll stick to each other if you put them in a stack. So there we go. So these are off baking somewhere. Okay, so back to, these are pre-made. And I did both sides because I never know what kind of projects I want as far as the inking part. But on these, I just need this side, right? Okay, so here's my little base. Perfect, yay. Now, the other side is where I'm going to glue my paper. And I have this really pretty little like bee book vintage kind of look, right? So I'm going to fold her in half. Now you can, of course, use a bigger piece of paper. You could collage this if you wanted. So at this point, I'm probably going to decide which of these I want to punch my hole in, and I'm probably going to do it in this one just because I really like this bee, which means this is going to be my back, the back cover, because the front of, like, a part of it's going to be gone, right? Okay, so there we go. Take out your glue bottle. Okay, I use, there's Fabri-Tac in this, and I use this bottle because my favorite junk journal maker, Pam at the Paper Outpost, this is what she recommended. This is a, it's the Sugar Bells. You use it for cookie icing with this tiny little tip. It's very, very flexible, right? And it's easy to squeeze and all that. And that tiny little tip keeps you from getting a lot of glue coming out all at once, right? Which Fabri-Tac can do that. It also means I can control the part that clogs with like pushing like a safety pin or something down in there and put a cap on it. All those things. And so that's why I move my Fabri-Tac to a aftermarket, an aftermarket bottle. Okay, so while that's adhering, it doesn't take very long with Fabri-Tac. Trim off your edges. Don't feel like you have to trim those curves because I'm going to show you another little trick. So just trim off your edges. It doesn't have to be perfect, you know. So basically, I get this because, you know, most playing cards have a round edge, and we're going to deal with that in a second. Here we go. Perfect. Okay. Trash in my trash bucket. All right, remember I told you to hang on to this, and this is such a nice little tip for when you need to get an exact edge of something that's not a straight line, okay? Sandpaper. And it works great on these cards because they are hard. This would be a little harder to sand flimsy paper, but see, I mean, like first of all, I'm getting the edge off, and then I'm getting this really cool little worn look, which is going to be really nice because I ink everything, literally everything. Get up, brush your teeth every day, take a shower, and ink all your edges, people. I do because it gives it that really cool vintage worn look. Okay, and I'm just going to keep on sanding. I'm going to talk louder so you guys can hear me over it, right? And then, so now we end up with this. There's the other side. No card poking through, right? Let's do this one. And it goes pretty fast, to be honest. You know, you have something solid underneath. That sandpaper is going to take off those edges. That's why, I mean, yes, I could have left all the paper on there and done this, but it takes longer. So I just trim it and then go back and then sand those edges. Sand and ink, baby. All right, sanding is done. There's that one. And now we're going to ink. Now you can use whatever color ink you like. There is a lot of like black in this, and my go-to is always black ink. My second go-to is that dark brown. But this is, I feel like there's enough darkish brown between the tones of this paper and the ink on the other side. And so I'm going to use black. Now this is also another reason that you sand your paper, your cards, is because the ink will adhere better to those sanded edges. I did not do a really good job sanding this one. I can tell you already because I'm having a harder time getting the ink to stick. So really go in, make it as dark or as light as you like. I just highly recommend that you sand it. Well, yes, I do highly recommend you sand it. Sand it and ink it because I just feel like if this is the look you're going for, you will be much happier with those results. Okay, and ink loves to stick to paper, right? So shouldn't be hard at all. So do whatever amount you like. Okay, we're going to call that one done. All right, so if you hear a groaning or something, it's my dog in the background. Okay, so now I've got my two cards, right? I told you I was going to make a decision about which one we're going to punch out, and it's going to be this, and decide your orientation of your cards too. So this is going to be the top right here, and yeah, we're going to make this one the top here, which means I'm going to be punching. You can do it anywhere you want. I would rather be higher than lower, just so that because of what I want to do with the card. So find your punch, find what you feel like is the middle of your card, or I mean, I guess you could do it off to the side. That's up to you, right? But I want to go higher rather than lower. Okay, there, oops, let me square that up a little bit. Okay, there we go. And punch, yeah. Okay, done. And you can see I didn't get it exactly center, but hey, it's mine, so who cares? And then I have a cute little, you know, cute little tag thing we can use here if we want to. I don't think I'm going to use it in this one. Okay, so now we have our front and back. All right, now let's stick it together. So for reference, what I'm talking about is our binding, and the washi tape is a great thing for this. It's really flexible, it's lightweight, it's not going to keep it open, it's going to let it lay flat, right? So let's get to it. Now I went ahead and looked at my washi tapes and pulled out this one. Oops, sorry, my camera's over here. This one, it's got a little bit of metallic and it's really pretty. Okay, and so now another little tip is I line them up pretty. I mean, you're gonna need a wider washi tape, something at least like this, or even the you know, like the, sorry, I'm gonna grab another one, like the bigger ones, see? But your tiny ones, like, let me pull out one of these, like this size, are not gonna cut it, because you really need to have enough tape for your tape to adhere to both sides. Okay, so line them up pretty dang even with a tiny gap between, right? And you know what, hey, I have this mat, you know, it's got all this lines on it. It's designed for lining stuff up. We should do that. So line them up. I just always get so impatient. Okay, then we're gonna tape it, okay? Really, you know, stick it down. If your washi tape has lost some of its stickiness, which it does, you know, as it gets older, or some of maybe the less expensive tapes do. Let's come back on screen. You can use a dotted glue on your ends, or glue down the whole thing. It's just try to glue it here, not here. All right, and then I am a fan, a little fact I learned, if you want something to stick better, that's sticky, tear, don't cut with your scissors. Nobody's gonna see it. Nobody's gonna see that. And it adheres better than a straight cut line. And then now we are, ta-da, we are flappy. And of course I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna ink my edges, right? Oh, I almost forgot a really important step. I just saw that. I'm gonna do inside and out. Whoops. Here. And it just kind of makes that washi tape really look like it belongs, right? Okay. I forgot. I need to ink my circle. Y'all, let me forget. Okay. And this is, to me, this is really important, because it just doesn't, if you ink something, it doesn't look like a circle just, you know, floating out there in the middle of nowhere. You know, things like this are a little harder to ink, so take your time, but it's really important to get it inked, because it's just gonna finish off that look really, really nicely. But I mean, hey, it is your project, and if you do not enjoy ink as much as I do, then don't do it. It's your project, right? Okay. All right, done. And you can use different colors, you know. A really bright pink would have been fun, or even a green. Okay, so here we are. Now, the fun part, time to decorate. Okay, I'm gonna pull over my tin. So I got a couple of things here. Now, when I thought about the theme on this, I'm gonna turn all these over. I decided to do another floral theme. It really, like this one right here just floats really, really well, right? So I'm gonna do that. I have a couple other little things here that we'll put on. And I've pre-inked all of these except for one, I think it's this one, yeah. So these are like fussy cut images, right? So this means I took these off of a piece of paper, you know, like I print out, and then fussy cutting just means, you know, you cut loosely around the edges. It leaves a little bit showing, which I always ink because I just feel like it, again, gives it that vintage look that I'm going for, and just kind of helps it look, it covers up those like raw edges, right? Okay, so the rest of these have all been, you know, inked, and I pinched out a little tag, which I've pre-inked, and then I have this cute little thing, which I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut with you right now so you can kind of see. Now, when you fussy cut, don't, especially if you're inking, don't worry about anything that you feel like, oh my God, that's attached to my image. That means I've got to include it. No, you don't. Just cut that sucker off and ink it. That's another reason for inking. So like you'll see when I get down here to the bottom, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this or not because this is really light colored paper. So there's like this little piece right here. I don't want that. I need this image to be smaller than the big image. Okay, so I fussy cut, take your time. And now we have this. Okay. And of course my mantra, ink, ink, ink. And the reason you're gonna wanna do this after your fussy cutting is because it's gonna hide anything that looks like it could have been attached to this image. And now those little pieces that I cut off, you cannot see. Okay, perfect. All right, so let's get to assembling. All right, so the hard and fun part when you're doing a project like this is deciding which pieces are gonna poke through, right? So that's actually really cute. And I got, you know, some more that with that yellow. Maybe I need to do a red rose because I've got 2 of those. Does that, yeah, see, that computes. Okay, so remember you're working in layers, okay? So just remember that. So I'm going to do what my bottom flower here. Where's my, there they are. Okay, so for like smaller pieces like this, I use a pair of tweezers, just because I'm so incredibly messy and I don't like being like that. Okay, so it's okay if just part of the image shows up, but line it up, right, up here, perfect. Okay, same thing on my bottom piece. And I'll probably add another one in here after I get these pieces that I'm really making sure are showcased through that peekaboo. Okay, there we go. Ignore how dirty my scissors are. These are my glue scissors. Okay, so here we go. And I really like both of these showing. So I'm gonna place that there. And now I am assured that both of these things peek through this cool close. Okay, now, yes, I'm probably gonna add at least something else on the inside, but right now I wanna get something on the outside too. Because a lot of this, now see, here's a fussy cut image. See that right there? It was like part of a larger image, and that's part of a bow. And I'm not gonna worry about that because I can always cover it. See, so don't worry, don't stress about it. This should be fun. Okay, so I'm knowing that, I'm probably gonna put this one here. And again, now I know on this one, I'm only putting glue on the bottom half because of my circle, okay? So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna open her up. Eleanor, it's fine. Okay, so I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna make sure that my glue's not showing back there, and it's not. Okay, so first one's in place. And I have like 4 more roses and a tiny little rosebud. I'm probably gonna, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this rosebud yet. And I've got a couple of leaves, which I'm gonna poke in to hide things. This one's a longer piece, so I need to decide, do I want this to come all the way down, or do I want to do something like this? And I actually think I'm probably gonna do something like this on that one. Let me see, I've got white and pink and red, yeah, so that'll be fine. Okay, so this one's gonna get like the full glue, right? Because was my longest piece. When I was fussy cutting this, I could have fussy cut, you know, not to have that foliage on there, but I wanted to leave it because it was kind of like a standalone flower on the page, and I figured I might use it. Okay, so now we've got a couple more of these large roses, and I'm a huge fan of both sides of this, like so. Now remember, I've got to hide this blue thing, so I think we're gonna do something like so, okay? Now, that being said, pay attention when you line this up. See, I've got a tiny little bit that's gonna poke up right there, which is kind of right here where my thumb is. So I'm gonna glue like everywhere but there. And also one of the other reasons I really love Fabri-Tac is because you can always rub it off with your finger before it's dry if you make a mistake, right? Okay, we're gonna open her up and just make sure, yep, see, no glue on that back side. And then, so this rose, has a real flat edge right there, and that's why this is going to be like my bottom piece. This one has turned out really cute. Sometimes it all just aligns, and it just works out perfectly. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is where we are while we wait for the Fabri-Tac dries pretty dang fast, y'all. So, okay, so here we go. So inside, outside, my under roses are peeking through nicely. Okay, so I've got a couple of little leaves here. I'm gonna put this right there, and a rosebud. Now, I could do something on the inside to kind of hide these back pieces, like so, to hide a lot of that, and I very well may do that. I have some other options over here too. I could do that. I can poke them in my foliage everywhere. I could do that. Some other things that I really want to do for this card, I really do want to make a space for a tiny little journal. So I'm going to add that first, knowing that, so that I can get the rest of this done. Okay, so I've got it. My card is a little wider. If you look, my card is a little, this index piece is a little wider. So I'm going to cut off, and I think I want to leave that piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to determine how, okay, that should fit in that space. We need to lop off a little bit on the end. I'm going to, is your ear bothering you, Mama? Okay, I'm going to get my corner punch. I'm going to round my corners. Round those corners, people. Remember, if you leave a corner poking off, it's much more likely to get caught on something. Okay, again, let's go in with our ink. This would be such a cute place to like write, like if you wanted to use this like a neat little like love card. What a cool place to write, you know, like a name or a special date. So this is how I'm aging this, right? A little bit of my walnut ink sprayed on, dabbed with my handy dandy gauze that I will recycle and pull apart and use. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and adhere this just so I know what kind of space I'm working with. There we go. Remember, this is a tiny cutie. This is not a big honkin' project. So dainty and little is what we're looking for. Perfect. But there's still plenty of space to write right there. Okay, so now that I've got that on there, I had a couple more pieces I just threw in my tin that I was going to work on. Now I have this one that I fussy cut. I really like this one because it has bouquet. Coulon. Now I could put it on the back, but I really don't want to cover up my B. I don't have a whole lot of space on my front. So do I want to do something up here to cover? And I might do that. I might go ahead and cover. I don't want it showing on the front, like through this, but I can make it to where I cover most of this. We're going to go back in and ink the back sides of these later. I think I'm going to do that. My French Bulldog's a snorer, by the way. So if you hear her down here throwing a fit, it's because we are not paying attention to her. All right. Oh, I need to clean these off. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to mindfully place this, knowing that I don't want it hanging over here, and I need it to cover as much of the back of those flowers as possible. Okay. So you can't see it from the front. There we go. But I got it on there. It gives that little, Okay. I've got some more, I've got this like little vintage style lady, which I'll probably work in somewhere because I really liked the look of her, but I don't know that she's going to vibe with my French. Okay. We'll come back to that part. I think I'm going to glue my little tag. See, I punched this out of like a piece of a card, and because that's what junk journaling is all about. I really liked like the linen texture of that paper. So I'm going to put this there. What a great little like to from. This makes such a cute love note. Oh my gosh. If my husband enjoyed this more, I would totally give it to him. Okay, so we've got that on the front. Now I still have a couple little pieces. Remember my little greenery pieces? See, I'm not a fan of how that's just floating, this little blue piece. So this is another little circle punch. What do you look like right there? Now, don't forget, I could also have added this back in somewhere, but it was just making it really busy, so I chose not to. I think I'm going to put that right there. I just want to hide that blunt edge of that flower and the round. Like you expect something to be round, right? There, that'll kind of hide that seam. All right. Am I doing anything with this little lady? I think I am, because I like how the orange goes together. So she's going to go down here on the bottom. Okay. Right. And find there we go. Okay. And I still have these 3 pieces, which I do, excuse me. All right. You know what I think I'm gonna do? I think we are gonna put her right there for that outside edge. Oh, my glue, see my glue's getting stickied up. I gotta clean my nozzle. It's just sometimes you're having so much fun that you don't wanna stop. And yep, see, that little edge will peel right up. So I'm making sure that I glue this on the very edge of that circle because I don't want it to come over. Now on this outside piece, you can, do this as long as you see how I put that glue right there. This is the great thing about Fabri-Tac. Rub, let me put this down. Rub, rub, rub while it's still wet, and it will come off. Okay. All right, and so look, a little 3D image here. Very cute. Very cutesy. Okay, so we have this. Now I do still have these 2 little, boy, that's tiny, 2 little pieces. And so I'm probably gonna do this. I'm probably gonna use my tweezers for that. Jeez, that's tiny. And I can cover some more of that back piece. So we got you, because that actually fit really nicely. Look at that. Look at the perfection. Oh my gosh, I love it when things perfect. Okay, and then I have one more little, whatever this is. I'm not gonna put it over here. I do think I wanna hide a tiny bit more over on this side so that my little lady looks like she's not. It's all just about, continuity. So add your glue there. And see, it just kind of sticks there. I'm gonna peel her up just a smidge because she's not exactly dry yet. It takes a couple minutes for Fabri-Tac to dry. And then we're gonna add that there, right? Okay. And I got a little bit of glue there. Let's rub that off. Okay. One last thing. So on the inside of this, which I probably should have inked this before I glued this piece on, but it's okay. Go in with your ink dauber and just ink up any little things that are visible from the backside. It's fine if they're showing as long as you ink them, right? Okay, I'm gonna trim that tiny little piece off right there. There, okay. All right, and ta-da, we are done. Isn't she cute? Here we go, open her up. Cute little place to write a love note. All of our roses. This reminds me, I don't know, very Kentucky Derby. Oh, good, we flipped it over. Let's go ahead and ink just the backside. Since we do have like a hanging off kind of element here. Just ink those so that the backside doesn't look stark and ugly, but there you go. All right, so there we are, our 3 little index card portfolio things. You can make these however you want. It's up to you. It's your stuff. I mean, there's just so many themes that you can make with this. So have fun. I love to get comments. I'm sure nobody's even watching my channel, but I do this for myself because I just really enjoy it. And if anybody ever watch my videos, maybe they'll learn something, right? So anyway, that's it. I'd love, if you do watch the video, I'd love a comment. I have stuff that's very similar to this for sale in my Etsy shop. These might also end up in my Etsy shop or a journal one day. So there we go. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to help. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.